go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for letting me know that you were able to hear me. My name is Veronica Parker with AEBG TAP. Today's webinar is titled Social Media in Adult Education, and the presenter is Neda Enasseri. She's a coordinator with OTAN. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items with everyone. If you have any questions, please be sure to post those questions in the chat pod, the general chat pod. Neda will be addressing questions after each tool that is presented. So for example, if the first tool she goes over is Facebook, after she gets done with that tool, then she'll address any questions that are in the chat pod. So if she doesn't get to them immediately, please be patient. She will address all of your questions. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on the AEBG website later on this afternoon, as well as the PowerPoint presentation. So if you have to step away for any reason, or if you would like to come back and listen to the PowerPoint again, you are able to do so by logging on to the AEBG website. When you enter the room and you're checking for your sound, you want to make sure that the sound icon is lit to either green or orange. If it is not, and you're still experiencing difficulties, please be sure to let us know in the chat pod, and we will address all of your technical issues via a private. If you are hearing an echo at this time, so you hear me speaking, but you are hearing it twice, it could be because you are signed in more than once. You can check that by seeing if there's a number 2 next to your name. If so, that means that you are in Adobe Connect more than once, so you would like to log out and come back in, and that should fix that issue relatively quickly. Attendance is taken during this webinar, so if you're in the room with multiple people, please be sure to let us know by indicating that there are multiple people in the room, and please type in their names so that we're able to count for everyone during our attendance. At the end of this webinar, an evaluation will appear on your screen. Please be sure to fill out this evaluation. It's our way of providing our presenter today, Neda, with information regarding her webinar. So please be sure to fill out the evaluation as it appears on your screen. Before Neda comes on, if there's anyone who has any technical difficulties, please be sure to let us know, and we will help you via private chat. Now I will turn it over to Neda. Neda.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Veronica. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. So we're going to cover social media in adult education, and like Veronica has introduced me, thank you so much, Neda Enasseri, and I'm a coordinator here at OTAN. So before, let's see, we'll go over a couple of objectives and then I'll move on to polls. But today we're going to cover, we'll do our typical introduction on OTAN, and we'll cover an overview, a general overview of social media, and who is on social media, so your students that are on social media, and the different platforms. We have a couple of different platforms that we're going to be looking at today. And then I'll share some tips and samples from the field as well. So if you know about OTAN, we are here to provide technical assistance. We're a leadership project through CDE to provide technical assistance and also professional development in the education technology field. We provide training, face-to-face training and online training. We have digests for teachers and administrators on our website. There is often news that is posted that is relevant in adult education on our website daily. And we have some teaching with technology tools available for our adult schools across the state. And we hold a technology and distance learning symposium annually, once in the north, once in the south. So I gather that you are here with me today because you have heard it's very valuable to have a social media presence in your adult school. And this is very true. You just think about it from a perspective of who are your students and what are they doing online. If they see their school is active online, there is a investment and a enjoyment in what you are posting, and that they're a part of that big picture. There are a lot of platforms, and it can get a little overwhelming. Which one do I choose? Do I choose Facebook? Do I choose Twitter? And we'll go through each platform and see what fits best. And if you're already using Facebook, for example, and you were interested in something like Twitter or Instagram, we will go over a couple of different options for you. So I do want to know what you are using. So I have a poll ready for you. And if you can answer these questions before we proceed. I just want to kind of get to know you and who's here with us. So, what you're using as far as social media platforms, and if you're using them, and if you know what your students are using. Also, it'd be really helpful to kind of get an idea of what your expectations are as far as what you hope to gain from this webinar. I see a lot of people say that they're using Facebook. I see Twitter. Let's see. I see a few Instagrams. That's great. LinkedIn. And I see some similarities there. A lot of your students are using Facebook and Twitter. I see Snapchat. Snapchat, your students are using Snapchat, yes. Unfortunately, I'm not covering Snapchat today, but it is a fun platform. Very good. Okay, great. So I have the best practices. We'll go over that today. How to reach more students, the types of messages to send, very good. Privacy issues. We'll touch briefly on that today as well. How to start the whole social media game. That makes sense. Yes, there are many ways you can start to make yourself more present on social media, especially if you're trying to reach your students. And yeah, promoting your program, spreading the word, absolutely. Great. Okay. Well, excellent. Hopefully I can cover a lot of this in what I already have in my slides, and if I don't, we definitely will leave you my contact information and some resources where you can either find that information or contact me directly, and I'll be happy to share that with you. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to the slides. All right. Okay, so just basic definition, social media refers to online tools and services which allow exchange of ideas, informations, videos, pictures, and graphics, just about anything you can name. Also, social media allows you to share and distribute existing information to others, either professionally or personally. For today's presentation, we're going to focus on a few of those platforms, and I'm hoping to reach all the ones that I have today on this slide right here. So Facebook, we'll talk a little bit about Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Not in that specific order, but we will be covering hopefully all 6. Okay, so why do you want to be on social media? What's the benefit? So this is a great opportunity. I mean, if you're looking for, if we step away from accessing the student and promoting the program, professional development and collaboration amongst peers. I mean, there's a large network online of people you already know and people you wish to know, and others that may have some ideas and some tips. So having a social media presence is great for collaborating and reaching your students, but also for your own professional development. In the poll, your expectations as far as help with promoting your classes and programs, I think that has been a successful item over the last couple of years where agencies are creating their Facebook pages, Twitter pages, or YouTube channels to promote their classes and to get either more enrollment or the word out as far as, you know, adult ed seems to be hidden, so to be more out in the know, social media seems to be the way to promote. Again, to recruit students and employees, you want to build a community in a classroom and a workplace to stay connected to students after they leave their institutions. So this this is huge as far as data collection and tracking outcomes. As you already know, adult ed students tend to change their phone numbers, maybe you can't reach them necessarily via email, but you can definitely always find their Facebook page or their Twitter account or their Instagram account. So one way to really help you track their outcomes if you're trying to understand if they gained increased wages or gained a better job or got a job and they dropped out of your program without leaving you a note, this is one way to track your students. It's a great way to keep students and faculty informed. So if you are going to be out for a holiday like Memorial Day coming up, and it's one way to keep your community informed on your openings and closings and whether or not you had unexpected closures for any reason. Celebrating success. This one's a big one. Students love to see themselves online and they love to share that information with their families, because if you post it, then they can repost it and they could share it with their families. So that's always important. That's one way to connect with your students, is to share their success stories. I put EL Civics objectives on there for those of you that are using EL Civics. There is a online component for EL Civics, and the word out on the street is a lot of people are implementing online communication as one of their objectives. And one thing that objective covers is formal and informal writing, how you write on social media versus how you write on a formal email or a formal letter. So this helps you in that sense, delivering that instruction. And there's online education. So I put some statistics up for you as far as, who's using what in the age group. And guess what? There are adults that are in our schools, and they are basically, there's a large age group that's on Facebook. I met somebody the other day who told me they choose to use Facebook Messenger as their texting method versus just regular SMS. I thought that was interesting. But it does. I mean, if you install your Facebook app on your phone, there is a way where you can just bring in all of your contacts through Facebook, and you can use that as your primary messaging tool if you choose to. Then there's Instagram, which you can see that there's a large percentage in the 18 to 29 age range. Pinterest is another big one where a lot of people are on there pinning information that they'd like to either learn more about or revisit, or they enjoy reading about. And we'll talk a little bit more about Pinterest a little later. You can see Snapchat has a large percentage of the 18 to 29. And Twitter. Twitter seems to be 38% and then 30 to 34 with 29%. Okay, so before we dive into Facebook, I'm going to check the chat pod and see if I have any questions. So Anthony, you are asking, one of my concerns about going on private Facebook is professional versus private. Okay. Um, let's go through the Facebook slides and I'll come back to that question. How often should you post? Is there a way to post correctly? Yes, absolutely. And we're going to cover that in this presentation. And Margaret, are the eMarketer stats available for different demographics? Yes, eMarket has a bunch of different statistics by ethnicity, by age group, by region. So yes, there's some other statistics there. Okay. All right, we're going into Facebook now. So Facebook was born, I put FB because people tend to use that abbreviation when they're texting. And so when you see that, don't be alarmed. It stands for Facebook. Um, it started in 2014, and you know the big Mark Zuckerberg and how there was a movie about it, The Social Network. And we won't go into the politics of all that was on that movie, but I will say that if you were wondering where that blue came from on Facebook's color scheme, that's actually Mr. Zuckerberg's color blindness. So what works for Mr. Zuckerberg works for the rest of the group. As of the first quarter, Facebook had 2.19 billion monthly active users. So Facebook was a hit, and people are using it till this day. No matter what my daughter says, I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she says that Facebook is not the same as Instagram, although it is owned by the same. So we'll talk about that a little later. Users generate 4 million likes every minute, so anything you post will show up on your friend's feed, and you get likes, and I'll open up Facebook in just a minute, and that will make sense. And more than 250 billion photos have been uploaded to Facebook. Okay, so what is it that you can do on Facebook? Well, you can create a profile, and I will demonstrate. I'll share my screen with you in just a minute. When you upload a post, either on your personal page or on your organizational page, you can tag people. So if you have a graduate who's active on Facebook, you can tag your graduate or tag your fellow coworker. When commenting on a post, you can also link it to someone that you may think you need a response from, or you might want that person to know that information. Okay, on hashtags. Hashtags basically put everything into one bucket for you. So anytime I add a hashtag and I put hashtag OTAN, then I can find every post that I post that has hashtag OTAN, but not just me. If Veronica, for example, posted something on Facebook and she put hashtag OTAN, then our information will go to the same bucket. Same for adult EDU, same for AEBG. And on Facebook, you have the capability to schedule a post. You can choose a month, a day, and a time. and you can view and edit posts once you've scheduled them. Even if you've already posted them, you can go in and view and edit a post. So there are many things that you can do on Facebook. You can have individual pages, so your basic profile on Facebook. You can have your business page. So I'll use an example once we move on to me sharing my screen. I have my page, my OTAN Neta page, but I also am linked to the OTAN business page. You have the ability to create groups, and I'll define that a little bit more in a bit. You can create events. So if you have something coming up at your agency, maybe it's graduation season, and you want to send that out on your social media, you can create the event and you can get input, either how many people are attending or are interested in attending. So it kind of gives you an estimate of how many people you'll have there. You can conduct polls. Most recently, we launched a series of technology talks, OTAN did, and to understand when was the best time to deliver those talks, we started a poll on social media, specifically on Twitter and Facebook, and we basically gave them our following two options, whether they would like to meet on a Tuesday or meet on Fridays. So that's one way to reach your followers. There's unlimited discussion threads, so you're not going to run out of space. And you can post photos and videos, and other apps can be linked to Facebook. There are opportunities to pay a little bit more, and you can boost your information or your agency or your business out to so more people can see it as well. If you're an active user on Facebook and you're continuously posting and you're adding friends on an ongoing basis, that's not usually a problem. You don't necessarily have to worry about the paid boosts, but that's just an added bonus. So I'm going to share my other screen, which has my Facebook account, so that we can talk a little bit about tagging. I see that there's a question about tags and pages and some more stuff here. So just give me 1 second. Okay. So if you are interested in signing up for Facebook, so you don't already have a Facebook page, you go to the main facebook.com website and you create your sign up information. But we're going to go right into my page. So this is my page. This is my OTAN Neta Annisari page, and I chose to have an OTAN Neta Annisari page, and I also have my ongoing personal page. I chose to separate the two, and that's working for me. When you add pages to your personal or professional page, they don't necessarily mix with each other. So if you're afraid that your personal page and your business page might conflict with each other or might share information between each other, that's not necessarily true, not unless you want it to. So I have my OTAN Neta Annisari page, and you can see on this left-hand side that I have many options. I have an opportunity to see my newsfeed, and everything in my newsfeed is from my friends that I've friended on Facebook that I've been adding. So see Penny added a couple of things, and Ryan from Torrance Adult, and Mickey from Clovis. So I could see what they've been posting and I can comment. If I want to switch to Messenger, I can go onto my Messenger and see what kind of conversations that I have there. I'm going to switch back. And that's that text messaging tool that I was talking to you about. Watching videos. There's a marketplace. There's a big marketplace on Facebook as well. So if you're looking to buy a car or see what's out there, a lot of yard sales are not on your yard anymore. They're actually out of people's homes. They just post their pictures, and you can join a bunch of different things on the Facebook marketplace to get notified of what is being sold out there. I'm in the market for buying a car for my little girl, and I've been looking at Facebook Marketplace a lot lately. This is just giving me a shortcut to my OTAN page, to the access to my OTAN page, but these are the other Explore features on Facebook. So we have events, where I was talking to you about if you wanted to create an event. Apparently, Front Street Animal Shelter is having a Brewfest on Saturday, June 16th, but you can create your own event here, and you can make it a private event or a public event. And I used the example of graduation, for example, but you may have you know, an open house or some other community event that you'd like to send out on Facebook, which is also something I would recommend. I won't spend too much time on events. I'll go to groups. And groups is a little different than pages. So pages is your basic business page, but groups is for a small number of people that you would like to continue a conversation. So let's say, you know, you might want to start a Facebook group for, let's say, citizenship classes, and people want to post ongoing questions, and anybody that enrolls in your citizenship class, I'm just using an example, you can create a group, and that group is going to be created for those students to ongoing post questions, hopefully, and you'll be the monitor of those questions. And so it's an ongoing place where people meet to discuss, and it's just kind of like their own private party. And so it's just that one citizenship group, or the one ESL1 group, or perhaps your graduate group. You can create an ongoing group for all your graduates, and you invite them to this group, and you can stay updated that way on what they're doing next. There's some other groups that are here that you can see that people have created, and you know, there are recommended groups and local groups. What my friends have on their groups, if it's specific to school and education, what's trending, arts and culture, and so on. For pages, so you can see that I have my OTAN page here, and I can get some analytics about my OTAN page. But I'm going to go ahead and click on our OTAN page. This is our business page. We don't necessarily have friends, for example, on the OTAN page, but they do like us. So once you create your agency page, you can send out this information and have students like your page, and that's how you get that community. That's how they're going to get your information on their feed, is once they like your page. And if anybody within their friends has liked your page, they share that information on their newsfeed. I get inbox notifications and insights and publishing tools and promotions options here. It's very important once you create a business page to keep up with your notifications. One of the problems that we have with OTAN, it's spelled, if it's, you know, when it's actually NATO, it's NATO, so we get a lot of interesting comments sometimes, so we want to make sure that we go into our comments and review them, and we get notified when there are comments made to our page. The other thing that I was going to say, it's kind of like treat it like a Yelp page. So if you are promoting your program and you have students on here and they want to give you feedback about your agency, there's a star rating, and people do look at that star rating. So definitely pay attention to how people are rating your agency and making sure that you address their concerns if there are any, or celebrating with them if they have uh, great things to say. It's very important to acknowledge um, that you have received a comment. I'm going to go back. Um, I'm actually not going to address, there's so many explore features. There's actually see more, and there's so much more options here at Facebook, but we do have to move on. Let's see. Oh, I did want to share another agency's Facebook page. So Oakland Adult and Career Education. I actually went to their agency and I did a workshop for them on social media. And so they created a Facebook page, and they basically have just started just a couple months ago, and now they're celebrating their students and posting on their students, and there's a following. So I wanted to share the vice principal created his personal Facebook page, and then he created his agency page. And so I can review their agency. I could write something on their page and reviews, look at their photos, look at what they recently posted. Okay. I'm going to go back to my page, and I know that there was a question on tagging. So I'm going to post something right now so that we can address that question, so that it can be a little bit more clear. I'm going to post on my Facebook AEBG webinar. So obviously I'm not very good at thinking on the spot, but that's the best I can come up with. I could choose a background if I wanted to. Let's say I wanted it nice and orange and pink. I can do that. I can add a photo and a video if I wanted to. I could add a feeling. I'm feeling very happy to do this webinar. But here's that tag friends I was talking to you about. So I could tag, um, let's see if I can tag my friend Otan Marjorie here on my post. So I just tagged her, and she's going to be associated to my post. So she'll be notified that she's been tagged. She's a part of my AEBG Happening Now webinar. I wanted her to be a part of that. I can add a GIF or a GIF, however you pronounce that. I can also check in. I'm at OTAN right now in Sacramento, or Mather, California. And if I had some other things I wanted to add, I could. But I'm happy with posting this, so I'm going to post AEBG webinar happening now. Okay. So I'm going to pause for a second here and switch back to my PowerPoint. Okay. Let's see if we're back. Now move on here. We talked about Oakland Adult. We gave the differences between pages and groups. Pages come with a lot of set features that profiles and groups don't have. The ability to manage notifications and messages, schedule messages. Groups allow a specific set of people to share photos and links. Groups are great for connecting with family, peers, teammates, coworkers, or people with shared interests. So, just that, giving you that example would be that graduate group, for example, class of 2018. as your group. So, of course, you have to be safe online, and our subject matter expert, Carla Frisler, did a great job on doing a webinar on social media safety, and that is available on our OTAN um, YouTube channel. So definitely want to set privacy settings and you know whether or not you want everybody to see what you're posting. I recommend that if it's a business page, you want it to reach people, but it's your personal page. You might only want to let certain people in, people that you know, friends, friends of friends, and so on. Always think about your password. So this is applies just like any other account. Make sure to not share your password with anybody and don't use the same password for all the things that you do. And be conscious of where you're logging on. Are you logging on to a public computer? Is it your personal computer? It's very important to be very alert of what you're posting. So always remember that anything you post can affect another person. And if you delete something, that doesn't necessarily mean it's gone, because there are ways people can take pictures of screens, and you might have removed it too late. So if you doesn't feel right, don't post it. If you post something embarrassing about yourself, it may come back to haunt you in the future. Well, that's very true. I am going to pause for questions before we move on to Twitter. I hope, Linda, that I covered the tagging question. If we create a new page for our consortium, is it true that it has to be linked to our personal account? Monica, yes, that is true. It will be linked to your personal account. You can create a separate account, like I was referring to, as far as I have my own personal Neta Annisary and I have my OTAN Neta Annisary. That's how I've created two personal accounts for myself. And then from there, your professional page could then link to your consortia page. Isabel, do you friend people or follow organizations through your business page? And is that kept separate from your personal page? It is kept separate, and you definitely can add people. Basically, you're pushing it out so people could like your page. And it is kept separate. I was told that Facebook frowns at people who have more than one Facebook account. Is that not true? I haven't gotten a message. I have two, and I haven't gotten my hand slapped, so I don't believe that's true. Do you need permission from those people in the photo? Douglas, you probably have your own policy as far as photos are concerned. I hear a different response each time, so it just depends on your district or your county. But, there was a district that I worked for that said, well, they're over 18 if before you snap that picture, let them know it's going on your social media page or it's going for marketing. And if they don't want to be in the picture, they could not be in the picture. And it was just a word of mouth. But I had other agencies that I know that's decided that they are going to actually do a photo release form, and students either they got to opt out. So everybody's opted in unless you opt out, and they gave them, the opt-out form, or you can always do the traditional photo release. It really comes down to what is the best practice for your county and district, and remember that your students are over 18, so it depends. So I would talk to your district or county leads or legal department and so on. Isabel, if I wanted to network or connect with other adult schools in Facebook, the best way to do that, would I follow them through a personal page, or would you recommend a different platform to do that? So I would recommend finding what are your local agencies around you and searching for them on Facebook. So for example, if I typed Folsom Cordova Adult School and they have a Facebook page, I'd go into their Facebook page and I'd hit the like, and now I would be notified each time Folsom Cordova posts something about their students or any activities and such. And I can also, ask questions if I need to. Thank you, Anthony, for posting social media safety. Veronica, okay, yes. And okay, follow them where you can find them. Yes, thank you, Anthony. And Vicky. Okay. Did I miss a question from Vicky? I don't think so. Okay. I'm going to check my other chat pod here. Okay, thank you. All right, we're moving on to Twitter unless I have any other questions. And even if you have more questions, we can get back to them later. Not just if we're just moving on, that'll be fine. Vicky's question is, how often should you post? Is there a way to post concurrently? No, as far as concurrently on your page and on your personal page, no, you can basically post, let's say I wanted to post something on the OTAN business page, and then I could tag OTAN Neta Anasari so it can reach everybody that's on the OTAN page and everybody that's following OTAN Neta Anasari. So you can't necessarily post concurrently, but you can tag other pages or other people on Facebook, and that's way it spreads out. And how often should you post? So I've seen agencies post, once a day. I've seen agencies post every other day. Don't be absent for more than a week, definitely. I would keep it, between 3 to 4 days. And when you do post something that is of value to those out there that are going to benefit from it. So perhaps it's, a study opportunity for students. Perhaps it's a notification of, let's see, I've seen anything from celebrating a student and posting that to just sending a motivational quote. A lot of agencies do that. And I don't know about you, but when I see motivational quotes on social media, I get a little pumped up and I know I can conquer the world. So even if you don't have much to share about what's necessarily going on, I would definitely make the effort of posting something that you think will motivate your followers. Maybe it's a news item. So it just depends on the community, and you'll know your direct community. Can I repeat whether it needs to be tied to a personal Facebook account? Your page, yes, it always will be tied to a personal Facebook account. But if you choose, Alejandra, if you choose, you can have your Alejandra Juarez Facebook account, but you can, depending on what agency you work at, you can have your Alejandra Juarez at 123 agency. Kind of like what I have. I have my own personal Neta Anasari page, and I have my OTAN Neta Anasari page, and then my OTAN business page is under my OTAN Neta Anasari page. That way, I could separate my personal and my professional pages. Oh, yes, Vicky, I'm sorry. You can post from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram all at once. And there are settings when you're posting. It actually does ask you whether or not you want to share this on all three platforms. And I can share that with you as we go along. Twitter and Instagram, when you're posting, I'm sorry, Facebook and Twitter, they don't necessarily play nice together, but Instagram is owned by Facebook, and so whatever you post on Facebook posts on Instagram. And this is the tricky part, Instagram. If you post on Instagram, you can actually link it to both Facebook and Twitter. So Instagram is the only one that right before you post asks you, which do you want to link it to any of your other social media sites? Facebook and Twitter, it doesn't necessarily ask you that. Facebook automatically links to Instagram, but it doesn't automatically link to Twitter. Okay, I'm going to move on to Twitter here. My goodness, it's 12:44. You have your Twitter bird here and your hashtags. Twitter is famous for their hashtags. And so we had Facebook started in 2004. Twitter was born in 2006. It's a global platform, and it's basically a place where you post ideas, news, and it used to be 140 characters, that you can only post 140 characters. So there isn't a limit on how many characters you can post on Facebook, but there was a limit for, there still is a limit for Twitter. It used to be 140, but now it's 280 characters or less. Users can follow each other to keep tabs on people, so they're not necessarily stalking you. They're following you as in they're just following your page. So they've chose the follow button on your page, and they can keep up with everything that you're posting. Trends occur when people tweet about the same topic or join in on a larger conversation. I heard word that when we had our Technology and Distance Learning Symposium in March, we were trending for a little bit because everybody was tweeting the same hashtag. It was hashtag TDLS18. And so it was on the trend feed, and we'll log on to Twitter and I'll show you where that feed is. But trending is always a good thing. Well, it's not always a good thing. It depends on what's trending. But if a hashtag is used a lot, then it will trend. And everything on Twitter is public unless you protect your tweets. Yes, it is public unless you decide to make that private, but automatically it's public. Oh, did you know that the bird in Twitter is actually named after Larry Bird from the Boston Celtics? Just for those basketball fans out there. I thought that was really neat. And it's because of the founders of Twitter actually went to school in Massachusetts. So Twitter did not invent the hashtag, actually. We all thought that basically the hashtag came with Twitter, and that was actually not true. It was used in chat rooms, and it was a way to lump together related tweets. So that's why we use it on Twitter. So the lingo for Twitter, when you post something, you're tweeting. And when you retweet something, you're actually just sharing what your friend has tweeted. So Joyce Hinkson, our director, tweets, and what I like to do is I retweet some of her tweets so that they can show up on my feed, so that a lot of the people that I know that may not be following her, for example, could see that tweet. So you're basically sharing that information. Your feed is basically your main page where you see everybody posting. Your handle. Everybody has a Twitter handle, and it's the @sign, and I'll show you, I'll point that out to you when we log into Twitter. It's the @sign and your tagline. So my Twitter handle is @OTANNetaAnisary. And people can find me that way. So if they are tweeting something and they want to tag me, there is no tag button like there was on Facebook. They just type @OTANNeta and they'll find me, and they'll find my handle and tag me to their tweet. You can also mention people the same way. You can direct message people on Twitter and add hashtag to put that information in that, remember that bucket I was talking about. All right, I'm going to share my Twitter now, and I'm going to switch screens. All right, so this is my Twitter account. And there's that Twitter handle I was talking about. So there's my Netta Anasari at OTAN. That's my page. But then my Twitter handle, I've decided to keep it at OTAN Netta. And when you're building your account on Twitter, there's an opportunity to choose your Twitter handle, and you might go through some variations of what you might want your Twitter handle to be. I didn't have a problem finding OTAN Netta. That was there is no other OTAN Netta. It tells you how many times I've tweeted and who am I following and how many followers I have. And maybe we can change that and you can follow me on Twitter so I can have more followers. Um, but it's telling me a couple of trends that I might like. So when I set up my Twitter account, I told them what I like, and I'm a big sports fan. So it's telling me, oh, the NFL. It's giving me some information about the NFL. Um, Wednesday wisdom, love coffee, so there's a hashtag iced coffee day. And so it's giving me trends that I might like to look at and see who's posting on these hashtags. You can see that this is actually my feed. So when it was referencing a feed, this is my feed. And some of the time, I'm not necessarily following Blue Apron, but it's a promoted. If you notice here, it says promoted, so it is showing up on my feed. I am following this adult school, and they have a graduate. Congratulations. I am following GCF Learn Free, and we'll talk about some tutorials that they have a little later. Google for Education. So you can definitely start following these um, businesses so that you can keep in the know as far as education technology. That was something that I wanted to continue to follow on Twitter so that I can get that information. And possibly, if they're tweeting something, I could retweet it that could benefit the field. I'm also following, I think this is San Mateo Unified School District. And so you can find what agencies you'd like to follow and see what they're posting. It does say the best recommendation is to upload a clear picture of yourself. So if I go to my profile, you can see that it's not necessarily a clear picture of myself. So I failed on that recommendation. I do plan on changing that. And I don't have a background picture, and it is recommended to have a background picture. So I have some work to do on my Twitter account. I didn't start using Twitter until I started working at OTAN. And there's a bio I should probably add about myself, but it does tell you my location. Limited as far as I didn't give them my full address, but I am in Sacramento, California, and when I joined, and so on. I'm not sure why my date of birth is on there, but yes. And the photos that I posted. I can also edit my profile, and it's telling me, well, since you're friends with so-and-so, would you like to be friends with these people as well? Or follow these people, rather. So it gives you recommendations of people you might know. And then that trending piece is on the right now. And if I wanted to tweet something, I can click that tweet button, and I can type in something here. All right, I'm going to go back to my slides. Okay, and I'm going to look at some questions. So if you aren't following Blue Apron, why is it showing up? Okay, good. So it is a so there is a marketing strategy and they're promoting their product. So I could have easily turned that off if I never wanted to see anything come up again from Blue Apron, but they probably have invested money into pushing out their product. I don't know if you remember on Facebook, there's those boosts that you can invest a little bit more and push out the product. I could have also followed something along the line or started following, maybe cleaner eating or home delivery or searched it at one point and it knows that I was searching for it. And so it's going to recommend it for me based on my search criteria. So it's a marketing strategy. They're just promoting their product. And you can turn it off if you don't want to see it again. Oh, I didn't, we're kind of losing time here, but I didn't get to cover um, closed adult, but they are very active on their Twitter account. So as far as tweeting tips, so ask yourself what you're trying to get out of Twitter. Try to make those professional connections, and what will pull your people that are following you in. What's important. What are some highlights that you want to share? Remember, you have 280 characters. Um, Perhaps you want to share that you're an expert at something and what you're building your Twitter account for. Keep your tweets. You have a 280 limit as far as characters, but the less is more in this kind of situation. So definitely try to keep it at a minimum when you're tweeting. Do not try not to use too many abbreviations because just depends on your community. You want to make sure that your point is getting across, and you don't want to necessarily lose them in any of your abbreviations that make sense to you and maybe your direct community. But if you're trying to reach your student population and their friends and families, they might not understand what you're saying. So we tend to use a lot of acronyms in adult ed, so be conscious of that. Shortening links is always a good idea. So if you have a really long URL, you can definitely shorten it by using Bitly or Google Shortener. I did fail to Google Shorten is actually going away, but there are other URL shorteners out there that you can definitely search for, and instead of using a very long URL. Definitely add pictures. That's actually a very known fact that if there's a picture associated to your post, it will likely be looked at more than just words. Avoid tweeting sprees, so don't tweet too much. Like I said, a tweet every other day, every third day, just being active on social media, just enough for students to be able to see your presence. When you're at an event, always find out what that event's hashtag is, and so that you can kind of start that community or know who's in your community when you see the hashtag. So always remember to, when you're tweeting, to add a hashtag to be in that group. And of course, I'm plugging this in. Definitely, plug us in when you can. Hashtag OTAN or hashtag AEBG and hashtag AdultEDU. Oh, there you go. Oh, thank you, Veronica. And you can also follow the AEBG office at AEBG office. Yes, Diana, it is going away. Google Shortener is going away. I'm sorry. I don't have enough time to really go into detail with that. I thought I wasn't going to really address it, but you can use it for now. You're okay. Thank you, Melinda. Thank you, Diana. Yes, it's very nice to follow people and see what they are up to. I do too. I get many resources when I'm reading other people's tweets. Okay, thank you, Anthony. So build your following. Don't forget that conversations goes both ways. Remember, I was saying if you have somebody comment, definitely acknowledge them and respond to them. Encourage your followers to interact with you by tweeting questions or using specific hashtags. So start developing perhaps a hashtag for your agency. If you are agency123, then hashtag agency123. As you become more active, Twitter definitely will send you suggestions as far as who to follow, and we'll start tailoring your interests. And that little heart button on Twitter is your like button. Yes, you will be able to download this presentation. Absolutely. All right, so there's always etiquette involved, right? So just like that first line tells you, don't, don't, hashtag use, hashtag A. Don't use too many hashtags is basically what it's saying. So, keep your hashtags sweet and simple. Remember, that's only putting them in a specific, I keep calling it a bucket. I'll still continue to call it a bucket. So don't overload your posts with too many hashtags. And of course, everybody loves a thank you here and there. So when you get a follower, thank them for following you. It's not always a bad thing when you have a follower. And the same safety tips apply. You have privacy settings in any account that you build. So definitely look at your privacy settings and set them accordingly. The same password situation for both. Don't use the same password. Don't share it with anybody. Be conscious of where you're logging in, and always be smart about what you post. All right, we're going to go into Instagram. Veronica, am I okay?
Yes, you are.
All right, thank you. I don't see any questions, so we're going to move on to Instagram. Instagram is a newbie. Okay, it's fairly young. It's born in 2010. Instagram is a free photo and video sharing app. You'll notice that it is very there's a lot more you can access on the app than you can on the web, and I'll demonstrate in a little bit. People can upload photos or videos and share them with their followers. And I remember that Instagram was very popular when it came out for its different filters for photos, but it's very much photo focused. People can view, comment, and like your posts shared by your friends on Instagram. You can tag people on Instagram just like you can on Facebook, but also Twitter, where you add their handle. Can only be used as an app, so it's limited on the web. I think I already covered that. Most Instagram users, as we looked at those statistics, are fairly young. There are currently 800 million users on Instagram, and yes, 80% of those accounts are personal, but there are business accounts that are increasing as well. Because, I mean, if you're targeting that age group particularly and you want to get the word out, it's probably a good idea to start a business account on Instagram. Yes, Facebook was bought. I'm sorry, Instagram was bought by Facebook for $1 billion, in case you didn't know that. I think it was in 2012. So this is what I was referring to as far as what you have access on the web versus what you have access on your phone. So I'm going to do a couple of things here. First, I'll demonstrate the web version, and then I'm going to share with you using my document camera what's available on the phone. Okay, so this is what you see as far as Instagram on my my web browser. Okay, it's very dry looking. Not much as far as settings are concerned, where to upload pictures, where to take pictures. Because remember, this is very focused on pictures. So you'll see quite a difference when using the mobile app versus using your web browser. Okay, so I'll switch it over right now to my document camera. All right, so here's my phone. You can see my phone here. Sorry for the glare. But here's the Instagram on my phone. You can see a couple of those buttons are active now. You have the Explore button available. You have the camera button right here. Direct messaging, you can see that you can find that here. You can access your profile. This is my profile on Instagram. It's not showing. Oh, all right. Sorry about that, guys. Veronica came and saved the day. All right. So let me backtrack. So this is what it looks like on my phone versus on the web. Okay, there's a little bit more activity. It tells me who has posted on my stories up here. There's the feed. All right, I have the opportunity to like, comment, or direct message that person. I also have this little tag, which is also available on Facebook, and it just means that I'm interested in saving this post so I can refer back to it later. So this little tag is actually a save link button. There's some ads here. You can see that commonsense.org posted an ad. I can comment. You can see how many views you have, 120 views. Lay flat, okay. There we go. All right, and then you can see this little banner here. That's why I was trying to lift it up a little bit, but that's okay. You can see that you can go back to home and it will refresh your screen. You can go to the Explore button and you can see what else is out there, what's trending right now, who I want to add or comment on or add to my group of friends. If I wanted to add a photo, I can. And I can also link it, and I can add a video, choose from my gallery, or take a current picture right now. So that's that little box with the plus sign. You can't necessarily see it on the document camera. Sorry about that. On the heart section, it tells me everybody that's looked at my post and everybody that has liked it. And it tells me whether or not I'm already friends with them or I still need to. So like Ryan, I sent him a request. I requested it, but he hasn't agreed to be my friend just yet. But I could see that, oh, Susan started following me. Do I want to follow her back? I can also do that. So there's so many more options on the app, the mobile app, than there is on the web. This is my profile, and I can go to edit my profile here. I could see my friends, and I could see who tagged me in posts or what I've posted. Actually, this one's what I posted. That's Otan Techie when he went to CCAE. And I can also go and see who has tagged me in a post. So apparently I tagged myself in a post. By the way, I just started using Instagram when I started working here as well. I haven't been an active user, but I definitely enjoy it. And then if I had any saved links, I could click on that save button and it will show me anything that I've saved to look at later. Okay, sorry about it. It's probably a little too blurry, but I wanted you to see the difference between um, the web and the mobile app. All right, I'm going to go back to my presentation. And let's see if I have any questions. Okay. I'm glad this presentation is informative. Thank you. Okay, so earlier we talked about if you can post on all platforms at the same time. And if you remember, I did say Instagram is the only one that basically allows you to link to Facebook and Twitter. So you can see that if I posted on Instagram, I could link to Facebook and Twitter. But here's something, just an extra bit of information. When you post on Instagram and you link the two, Facebook and Twitter, Facebook will show the post that you posted on Instagram. Twitter will not. It will actually show a link. It will show that you posted something with a link to your post on Instagram. So, it's that whole, are they playing nice with each other? And I think Twitter is limited as, how much they're willing to play. So Facebook shows everything, whereas Twitter links to your post, which, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. You have the opportunity to tag people and put in a location for where you are. And you can send it to the group or you can send it directly out, directly to a specific person. So Instagram is very much famous for their posting of food. So yeah, it's any pictures actually. So there's a statistic that the food that is most posted on Instagram is actually pizza, which is awesome. Next in line were steaks and sushi, for those steaks and sushi lovers. All right, we're going to go into YouTube, but before we move on, I'm going to check and see if we have any questions. Okay, we are going to talk about YouTube next. All right, YouTube started in 2005. It's owned by Google. It is the second largest search engine in the world. That's a statistic that was pulled up just this year. So guess which one was the first one? Anybody gonna guess? What was the first search engine? I see people. Google it. Yes, it is Google. All right. So there's a young man who's age 6 who has made 11 million in 2017 for just toy review. So talk about, I mean, people are addicted. It's so funny. One of my friends was telling me that her daughter is 11 and she is reviewing, she wants a YouTube channel. And I said, what does she need a YouTube channel for? She's like, well, it's the thing now with the kids. They want a YouTube channel to review toys, to just talk about, their day, and they post it on their YouTube channel, and people are looking at those videos. So it's very popular. tutorials, how-tos, everything on YouTube. People are accessing YouTube for everything. And just like Anthony mentioned, Google it, well, it's also YouTube it, right? So if we don't know how to do something, we YouTube it. So we'll talk about a little bit of how you might be able to create your YouTube presence to benefit your agency. You can change the languages on YouTube. And most popular would be, clips and TV shows and music and how-tos. And it's totally free. You can broadcast to any potential audience without paying. That's always a good thing, right? Free is good. It's okay. So it's bought in 2006 by Google. Just some, extra information for you. It was actually founded by PayPal employees. If YouTube were a country, it would be the largest in the world after China and India. Wow. And 100 hours of video are uploaded every minute onto YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to share with you our OTAN YouTube channel. Okay, so we are on the OTAN YouTube channel now. And you can see that we have a few subscriptions that we subscribe to. Tells you, we can talk a little bit about what's available on this left screen, but tells you to go back home to your main search for YouTube. This is actually in my channel right now. You can go and see what's trending on YouTube, and you can also see what subscriptions you have. What you've watched in the past, so it does track what you have been watching on YouTube. What you've saved to watch later, and other library items, like, for example, what we've been doing to create videos. We have a bunch of options for co-ops and quizzes and training videos that are playlists available for people to view. You can also see it here on this main screen, so you can see you can filter it by home, videos, playlists, and I'm going to go ahead and click playlists. So we have Teaching with Technology playlists that we've created, and OTAN Tech Talks. There's only one because it just started in April. And that's the one I was talking to you about, Carla Frisler, talking about social media safety. So definitely after this, go ahead and look at that video. It's only about 30 minutes, and she gave some really great tips on social media safety. If you wanted to see what we were doing at TDLS and just this past March, you can do that, and we have a bunch of different options to choose from. We offer a Digital Leadership Academy, and we open those applications up every, it's a 2-year program. And if you wanted to learn more about what our participants are doing in that Digital Leadership Academy, you can tune into their reports and see what they're doing, and some of our keynote speakers. But there's a bunch of tutorials and how-tos and screencasts on our YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out. It just tells you some featured channels of what we follow, and that would be like ISTE and Links and COABE. And if we're having any discussions or comments, we would address them here, just like I was telling you. If you got any comments or anything on your other social media sites, it's really important to address those. Did you know that if you get 100 subscribers to your YouTube channel, you can get a custom URL? Yes, that is so we can customize our channel. We actually do have over 100. We are planning on customizing our channel just so it doesn't have all of this after youtube.com. Instead of having all of this, we would then have a custom URL. To make it shorter. So we are in the process of doing that, but just in case you start your own YouTube channel, you can do that. I wanted to share, there was a video online about some success stories for another agency in California. And if you get a chance, this was great. Maricosta Adult Ed. They did a really good job on creating this video, and it was just basically a recap of their experience at Maricosta College. And these are students that were either getting, adult basic education, or were there for adult basic ed, or ESL learners, or finishing up their high school diploma or their high school equivalency. I think they did a phenomenal job, and this was one marketing strategy, and that's a great way. I mean, if you're going to choose one social media site to use, I would definitely add YouTube. So it would be like Facebook and maybe YouTube, or Twitter and YouTube, if you planning on starting your social media presence. Definitely want to have YouTube as your secondary and start creating some videos to promote your program. I'm going to flip back to my slides. It takes a while to get back here. Okay. Oh, this was a screenshot of San Mateo Adult Schools YouTube channel. You definitely should try to log in and look at some of their videos as well. They did a great job on how they're very active on social media. So use YouTube to promote your school. This first one, solve people's problems. It's basically saying, why can we help you, right? So we're necessarily probably what we're the message that we're wanting to get across is that, you don't have your high school diploma possibly, or you need additional, English help, or need some more basic skills to move on to bigger and better things. Well, we can help you. So that's kind of your focus as far as content is how you can perhaps solve their issue or motivate them to attract them. And you're very focused on building a community and a following on YouTube, just like you are on any social media platform. And then create a pathway. So you want to be able to have a channel of communication between them, and be able for them to be able to see what their next steps are, or possibly some ideas of what they need to do next. And with Google, you have analytics as well, so you can always tune in to see how well you're doing and how many people are clicking on your pages, and what you should be doing a little differently possibly with that data, so you can always track your progress as well. Okay, let's see. I'm going to check for questions. Okay, I'm actually going to skip Pinterest, and I'm going to go into LinkedIn, because I think since we're going to end at 1:30, I know we were supposed to end at 1, but we're going to go to 1:30, but I do want to talk a little bit more about LinkedIn. So we'll save Pinterest for a different time. So sorry about that. I'm going to click through that to kind of give you an idea, but Pinterest is another platform. It's a really great platform for teachers if you're looking for ideas. I typed in ESL vocabulary activities, and so if you're looking for just supplemental material, you can go on there and find supplemental material and other activities for students if you choose to. Okay, so for LinkedIn. Um, So LinkedIn is basically your professional network. And the reason why I wanted to bring LinkedIn to the mix before we go is because for those of you that are having some sort of, well, basically the push is that we want to prepare our students for workforce preparation, right? So part of that is, one, this is a great benefit for you professionally to create a LinkedIn account, but for your students as well. It's a good way to get them professionally active on social media and to kind of train them on that online presence and what it looks like to have a professional presence. So if you have that your workforce transitions course, or you have that transition specialist that is working with students, you might want to incorporate LinkedIn into that because people are often using LinkedIn to look at people's experience. It's an online resume, basically. So it started in 2003. LinkedIn now has 3 million active job listings on that platform. So your students will probably be tuning in to LinkedIn, and if they're not, you might want to recommend them because it's a way for them to find jobs. So once you're in LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to endorse somebody that is on your page, or you can endorse another person based on their experience. And you can actually write letters of recommendations directly onto their page. So this is your LinkedIn page is an active online resume, but it also serves as a recommendation platform. It serves as an endorsement platform. So it's just your professional presence. There is a premium account with LinkedIn, but I personally don't think, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me who's viewed my profile. If I have the in-mail or I think the access that I get with the free version is good enough. You can manage your professional identity, build and engage your professional network, and access all the other knowledge and insights that different professionals have. And you can network with them online as well. So you can set up a free account. You definitely want to go through all the steps and make sure that your resume looks appropriate online. And you connect to people that you've known, past employers and coworkers, and people that you want to be directly in your network that could possibly vouch for you, that you definitely know that expertise and you know that information, or you possibly look forward to connecting with them in the future, or they could just be a part of your professional friend network. You can reach out to your contacts from time to time and endorse their skills. That's a really good idea because, I mean, not only do you want your contacts to endorse you and your skills, but you want to endorse others, and so that you can actively get people to come back and endorse you. Yeah, so there's an identity there, and if you're looking at people's history, you can definitely look at their LinkedIn profile to see other information that you might want to look at. And this is why I'm saying it's really a powerful tool for your students as well. So keep that in mind for those transitional workforce preparation programs. Like I said, we're kind of running out of time here. I took a screenshot of my LinkedIn profile online, and it really is a social media platform, not as maybe it's definitely more professional, more classic looking than Facebook and Twitter. Definitely more than Instagram, for example. But Definitely want a picture on your LinkedIn profile. I think that's, one thing that's missing from your typical resume, right? We don't often put our pictures on there, but on your electronic resume or your LinkedIn resume, there's a picture. And not that that should make a difference, but obviously you want to make sure that that is a professional photo of you and that it is linked accordingly to your profile on your page. You could see that I also I like and follow a bunch of groups. So University of Phoenix, I'm a graduate from Phoenix, University of Phoenix, and OTAN. So you can have a bunch of groups that you follow, just like we talked about in Facebook, for example. But just think of this as your professional opportunity to follow those professional organizations and see what they're doing. I was interested in taking a course at UC Davis, and I started following UC Davis, and now I get a bunch of job postings and reminders from UC Davis. So, I mean, it just depends on what you're interested in looking at. Well, I just wanted to open up some other people's profile pages on LinkedIn. So, and our group page, our OTAN group page, you can follow our page on LinkedIn and tells you a bunch of information about us. And I have Branca's page up here I was going to use as a sample. And I wanted to scroll down to the end of her page to show you her recommendations list and her endorsements. But you definitely, I encourage you to log on to LinkedIn and check out. You can go on my LinkedIn profile, Netta Anasari. You can even use Branca's and look at how our page is set up and how you might endorse people for their skills. So if I have one of my skills on my LinkedIn page is data and accountability, and I get endorsed for that quite often, and education technology. And so you look at what their skills are and you hit the endorse button. And you'll get notified when people endorse you as well. All right, some more do's and don'ts on social media. Don't duplicate a website, a brochure, or a newsletter. So whatever you're putting up on your website and whatever you have on your brochure and your newsletter, don't link that to your social media page, whatever platform that you're using. Because whoever's looking at it is looking at different information. So you want to keep it short and sweet and to the point. Start with your friends, your immediate circle, and definitely embrace your audience. Keep it authentic. There's something about real that we gravitate to. Use often. If you're absent off of social media, people don't see what you might be doing at your agency. You always want to build some maintenance time to your schedule. So maybe you changed your office hours, or you wanted to add a couple of links, or you have a new website, or perhaps another social media platform that you want people to follow. So definitely always look at how you can clean up the information. And push out, encourage participation. So you might want to print out a couple of flyers that say to like you on Facebook or follow you on Twitter to get those students to first actively join your network, and then always push out some information to them once they're on there to share with friends and family. And continuing on maintenance, always make sure to clean up your profile. Details on your agency, your hours of operation, your location, if you have more than one location, the days a week that you're open, as much information as you possibly can. That's always a good thing. I already talked about being active, and you follow some influencers and companies that you might be interested in. And always think about quality versus how many versus quantity. All right. So we talked about how simple is good. So make it easy for your audience to participate, and write the content that's worth sharing, even if it's just a motivational tip. Definitely don't want information that people might skim over. You want just something that maybe engages the student. Sometimes it might be a question that you want to actively ask. Always acknowledge and recognize your audience, whether you're thanking them for joining you or you are responding to a review or a comment. And yeah, you just want to be as informative and that entertaining to a point, as informative and entertaining as you possibly can. And then don't forget to be genuine. So, back to what social media platform should we use, right? We asked what do we use or what we're interested in using. What should we use? That's up to you. What you know, what your community might benefit from. Um, you have to establish who's going to manage that, and maybe develop a social media team. You want a couple of administrators, and I mean administrators on the page, not like your principal, vice principal. I mean, you can designate a social media administrator, and it could be anybody you choose. It could be your teachers, it could be your support staff, it could be anyone. So you want to develop some sort of social media team and have people work together to continuously be active on social media. Definitely understand what is the best platform that your students use and probably use that platform or have it as one of your top two. And when are you going to do it? I mean, what are your plans? Is it something that you are going to finish up this semester or possibly have ready for the next semester? What are some of the plans? Create a plan on what strategies you might have to incorporate social media at your agency. All right. I think we talked about these. Want to have a consistent brand. I think we've kind of touched on everything here. Are you a social media guru now? Oh, I like this image. I have to share it with you. So Facebook, you basically like the coffee, right? I had coffee on my mind when I created this. On Twitter, you're hashtag drinking the coffee, right? You're associating it to the coffee. I am drinking coffee, hashtag coffee. LinkedIn, you want to tell everybody, I'm really good at drinking my coffee. And Instagram, I'm going to take a picture of me drinking coffee. For YouTube, you want people to watch you as you drink your coffee. And then Pinterest. Here's a collection of pictures and recipes of drinking coffee. This kind of, it helped me. I mean, anytime there's coffee analogy, I'm more present. If you want more information, definitely utilize gcflearnfree.org. They have a social media component, and it is very helpful. It has a lot of the social media platforms that we talked about today and some others. And we do have the OTAN YouTube channel with a bunch of resources. And know that OTAN can come to you. So if you need more of an in-depth workshop on social media, we can come. We can come to you. Just contact AEBG TAP. Well, thank you so much. Don't forget to add me to your platforms, to your social media sites. So if you're on Twitter, I'm at OTANNetta. OTANNetta Anasari on Facebook and Instagram, and Netta Anasari on LinkedIn. So I'd love to connect with you on social media. You also have my email address if you're interested in emailing me. Thank you so much for attending today. And I'm going to go back into the chat pod and see if I have any questions. Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad it was informative. Oh, good, Vicki. I'm glad you're excited. Yay. Linda, are you laughing at me adding my friends to my network? All right, great. Veronica, yes, don't forget to register for upcoming webinars through AEBG TAP. I'm glad it was good information. Oh, the coffee thing, yes, yes. Thank you guys so much for attending this webinar. Sorry we went over. There's a lot to cover. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Netta,
Have a great
and
day.
thank you everyone for participating in today's webinar. We do have an upcoming education technology webinar with a few OTAN presenters, so please be sure to check out the AEBG tab webinar registration page to get all the details regarding our upcoming webinar series, which will begin on Tuesday, June 5th with Melinda Holt, and she will be going over some Google tools that you can implement in your classroom. I'm about to close the webinar room, and upon closing, the evaluation will appear on your screen. Please be sure to fill out the evaluation and let Netta know what you thought about today's webinar, as well as to provide any feedback you have regarding technical assistance and professional development. Thank you all for participating, and see you next time.